Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Bears Corps studio. Welcome to the show. How's your day been? Good? Yeah, it's a nice day actually out today. I mean, it's sunny. It's really, really cold. It is currently 10 degrees in Minnesota. Very, very cold, but yeah, staying warm. Hope things are going well for you. Hope they're going better for you than they are going for Hasbro. Because things over at the House of Hasbro, that's, what all the cool kids call it these days, looks like they might be in a bit of trouble. Their earnings came in. There's a lot of articles that came out yesterday, and things might not be going so well. A lot of interesting news came out yesterday, so let's jump into it and discuss what the future might look like as well. So the first article I want to tackle is from Deadline. Hasbro extends slump, delivering weaker than expected 2023 forecast along with soft Q4 results. So this is quite the article. I'll try to make sure I link all the articles I'm bringing up in this episode. But basically, sales for Hasbro were quite down in Q4, a lot further down than they thought they were going to be. Revenue slid 17% to about $1.7 billion in the quarter. I mean, that sounds like it's a lot, but apparently for a company Hasbro size, that's not good. Revenue slid. Well, earnings per share came in at about 1.31. Hasbro projected 2023 adjusted earnings of 4.45 to 4.455 per share, which is well below analyst consensus of 4.88. So they missed the mark by quite a bit. They just kind of they didn't perform nearly as well as they thought that they would. And that's kind of been the trend for Hasbro a little bit lately, where they're just kind of missing the mark, at least when it comes to overall performance. They are not meeting expectations, and they're having some investor calls and whatnot where they're like, oh no, things are fine, ignore the burning dumpster behind us, it's fine. We take a look just at their stock price over the past, and this is not a finance channel, I should say that, this is a Magic channel. We'll get to the Magic here in a second, and I promise there's a link here. Here we go. Regardless, if you look at their past month, their stock, percent has gone down. 6% is what their stock is down to $58. And if you look at that over the past 6 months, it's been down 22%, which is a ton. So, things have not been going so great for Hasbro. And when they're doing things, they're kind of trying to make up for some of their shortcomings in some ways that definitely impact Magic players. There we go. There's the Magic line right there, right? There is the thread that connects this as to why I'm even talking about this, why I even care about Hasbro. Because, Hasbro and what happens to them definitely impacts Magic. So, another article that came out yesterday was on the New York Times, actually. Magic the Gathering becomes a billion-dollar brand for toy maker Hasbro. And again, linking this in the description. I highly recommend reading it. The fantasy card game has surpassed the sales of the 100-year-old company's other brands, including Transformers and G.I. Joe, but some are worried about the downsides of rapid growth. We've seen some of those downsides recently. Magic players over the past couple of years have definitely experienced a lot of those downsides. We'll talk about more and more throughout this episode, but we have been inundated with an absurd amount of products that no one can ever, keep up with, certain decisions that were made, maybe not the best ones, for Wizards, that maybe Hasbro is pushing, we need certain amounts of revenue because these other brands, My Little Pony isn't selling, G.I. Joe isn't selling, we need money from Wizards. So, it just seems like, hey, okay, sure, Magic finally hit $1 billion. It's their first brand that's ever hit $1 billion, but all their other brands are struggling, and there's a cost to actually, trying to get all this money out of the Magic community, essentially. So, in that article on Thursday, the company announced that Magic had become its first billion-dollar brand in terms of annual sales, surpassing other toy lines in stable, like mentioned, Transformers and G.I. Joe. That milestone was achieved after 30 years of nurturing the game for longtime fans while finding ways to coax new players to pick it up. It was a winning playbook, as Chris Cox, the chief executive of Hasbro, put it in an interview. So, I'd say when it comes to nurturing the game, right? Obviously, there has been a lot developed with Magic, and a lot of great things have happened with Magic over the past 30 years. Also, in the last couple of years where revenues have really spiked, and we'll talk about, those exact numbers here in a little bit, certain decisions made that maybe weren't so nurturing, that were maybe more kind of I don't know, some would say predatory in some ways, taking advantage of the community, etc., etc. So, further on the article, but Hasbro faces challenges making Magic even bigger, particularly player fatigue brought on by the release of 39 new card sets last year. Not exactly sure what they're counting as a card set, but yeah, up from 15 in 2019. According to analysis by Bank of America, new sets can start around $50. So maybe what they're saying with sets potentially with that $50 mark, maybe they're talking about like, Commander Precons kind of being, kind of considered a set, I guess. Comment below if you know exactly what they're talking about when it comes to this 39 number. When it came to number of products released last year, yeah, there's well over 100 of all the secret layers and everything as well. So yeah, that player fatigue is definitely a real thing. And again, with Hasbro, again, having other brands that are struggling right now, basically it seems like everything but Magic is struggling, and they are leaning heavily on that Magic player base to make up for the shortcomings of the other products. And so because of that, yeah, player fatigue is definitely becoming a thing. I mean, I don't know if you remember, I definitely do. What was it, like August, September, October, November, like just like the 4 month of just like, oh, product, and like all the sets in a row essentially. And yes, there were certain, like, there was always a delay earlier in the year, so we had to move this one there and that kind of stuff. But still, the amount of products last year were absolutely ridiculous, and I don't think it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Oh, and here we go. So if my math is right, and please correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong on this, but Magic last year made $1.07 billion. Again, the first, billion-dollar brand for Hasbro. The total amount that Hasbro made last year in terms of revenue, $5.86 billion is what I could find. So that's 18% of total revenue. Nearly 1/5 of the amount of money that Hasbro makes in revenue is from Magic the Gathering. That's pretty absurd, especially when you think about all of the products that Hasbro has. I mean, Monopoly, again, like Peppa Pig even, G.I. Joe, Transformers, all of those, every single one of those brands. I mean, I probably should have pulled up a list of their brands, but you can look up a list of their brands too. They've got an absurd amount of brands. And yeah, one of every $5 they get essentially is coming from Magic players. Now, that is a ton, and yeah, Magic is definitely the golden goose, when it comes to Hasbro. I think that it's official now, right? Because it is the first billion-dollar brand. It is the golden goose, and Hasbro is definitely, over the past couple of years, seemingly killing its golden goose to make short-term profits. And, yeah, sacrificing things like, the players, essentially, those that are, very passionate about the game. Player fatigue is definitely a thing right now because, again, making too many products, making just too many things, making certain kinds of products that upset the community. We'll talk about those here in a little bit. Another article that I'm going to be linking below that I recommend reading as well comes from Cardboard by the Numbers, a great site as well. And yeah, basically Magic Hits 1 Billion talks about some of these similar things, gets a little more in-depth in the numbers, and let's talk about the chart that they threw up there as well, and a big thank you to them for making this chart. It's very helpful to see. And yeah, actually, let's read real quick. Magic has become Hasbro's golden goose, bringing in over 18% of the toy maker's total revenue for 2022. So yeah, there you go, 18%. Hopefully both of our math is right. Along with an oversized share of the company's profits. While growth in the last year was much slower than the previous two, only 2022 did Magic pass the threshold to become Hasbro's first billion-dollar brand, having nearly tripled its gross revenue in the last 7 years. So that is an absolutely absurd amount. Again, tripling revenue. Oh, goodness. Okay, so if we look at the numbers, right, back in 2016, $350 million, a good chunk, right? A lot of money to many of us, right? But apparently not enough for Hasbro. Going up each year steadily for the next 3 years, right? 350 to 375 to 400 to 424. Kind of like clockwork, right? Basically going up 25 million every single year, around that, right? And then it just starts jumping in the last 3 years. 2020 jumps 27% up to $581 million. And if you thought that was a big jump, I mean, and again, if you look, there's another chart out there that, shows the amount of products each year that have come out from Magic the Gathering, and especially in the last 2 years, it's been absurd. And the number of cards that have come out, the new cards, new commanders, absurd. 2021 jumps 42% up to 995 million, nearly hitting that billion-dollar mark. This year, of course, jumping just 7% to the 1.07 billion. Still, if you take a look, from back in 2019 to 2022, more than doubled their revenue. So absolutely absurd. And yeah, again, there are sacrifices that have to be made for that. And again, kind of the player kind of enjoyment, the player kind of, fatigue is definitely something that might be sacrificed with this. And kind of, sidestepping, certain, some would say moral quandaries, essentially. Anyways, another article that I do want to bring up as well. Again, a lot of articles came up yesterday is from Games Radar. And again, I'll link this one in the description below. Hasbro admits it misfired with D&D OGL and was too aggressive with MTG pricing. So basically, yeah, last year there were a lot of kerfuffles, let's call them that. That Hasbro had. Essentially, they had a couple of things, with the D&D OGL. They're like, oh yeah, we're just trying to sidestep the community and do this really sneaky thing. And then with Magic, they were too aggressive with pricing and on certain products. And many products. And yeah, we'll talk about the one that was the big kind of pie in their face during the year. Basically. Let's read a quote from the article. "We misread on updating our open game license, a key vehicle for creators to share or commercialize their D&D inspired content." I believe this is Chris Cooks who says this. Please correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong on this. He says, "Our best practice is to work collaboratively with our community, gather feedback, and build experiences that inspire players and creators alike. It's how we make our games among the best in the industry. We have since course corrected and are delivering a strong outcome for the community and game." Okay, so basically, last year, we had, the OGL kind of like ended the year and kind of started, actually, I think it was early January, but it kind of, I think some of the leaks happened like end of December as well. Basically, Hasbro tried to do some very sneaky things to force some people to sign some contracts and basically take away the open game license as it is, essentially, so that they could, crack down on third-party content. That's kind of an oversimplification. I have a different episode from a long time ago. I talked about this, I guess maybe a month ago or so. Regardless, Hasbro tried to do some sneaky things that were very, very, very detrimental to the community, or would have been if the community didn't fight back. The community did fight back. It made a lot of news, and because of the uproar, they had to back down. Let's read some more in there. Cox also admits that Hasbro's mishandled Wizards' other big name brand, Magic the Gathering. "Our growth in Wizards was not without its challenges," says Cox. "We were too aggressive in some of our pricing assumptions, notably our 30th anniversary edition of Magic, and pulled back on available supply, impacting Q4 results." Okay, so this is kind of annoying to me where it's like, oh no, we were a bit too aggressive on our pricing for MTG 30th edition. Not at all mentioning that it's a product that is absolutely terrible that no one asked for. 60 proxy fake cards according to Wizards that they are not okay with for anyone else making, but they're okay if they're making them and selling them. 60 random fake cards that cost a total of $1,000. That calling that, a bit too aggressive on your pricing is just a bit facetious. Also when it comes to, your overprinting that you didn't talk about as well, overpricing on other products as well, cutting out local game stores with many things as well, going to Amazon instead, selling directly for a lot of things as well. There's a lot of factors to it and a lot of reasons why the community is not happy with you for many things last year, including, of course, MTG 30th edition. That dumpster fire of a product. So, basically overall, a lot of articles lately that kind of just tell kind of an overarching story of, okay, oh my goodness, Magic hit $1 billion. No one thought that could ever happen or whatever. I mean, if you told someone, 5 years ago when it was, a $300 million or $400 million revenue, essentially, product, like, oh yeah, in a couple of years, this is going to hit $1 billion. It'd be like, how? Why? What happened? Essentially, yeah, it'd be like, no way, that's not going to happen. But yeah, the number of products that keep getting shoved down our throat every year, I don't think it's going to be slowing down. I just can't personally stand the practices of a company like this, and I know many of the community feel the same way. It just feels like a company like Hasbro is really, it doesn't have the best interest in the community. It doesn't have the best interests of the players for Magic or for D&D. The people at top probably don't play either. I know for a fact, I believe that some of them don't, that came out with the D&D, essentially, when it came to the people who are making the big decisions, well, no, I shouldn't play that because I need to be able to make, rational decisions with these things, and I shouldn't be able to be part of it. And it's just you've got people who don't actually care. They care about the bottom line, and that is it. And it's just a very, very sad thing, especially when it comes to, players out there who, when it comes to a product like this, a product like Magic the Gathering or D&D, the way that I like to think about it is sometimes products can become so big and become such a part of people's lives that it is more like a passion than actually just a product. So when it becomes that, it kind of just transcends oh yeah, sure, let's just look at the numbers. It's it means more than the numbers of, how much it sells and all that kind of stuff to the players in that community. And it's just I don't think Hasbro gets it. And that's why I think they were surprised that they couldn't go through with their OGL changes, and that the community did fight back and did not allow that to happen. And that, when MTG 30th came out, yeah, they got a ton of backlash, and they had to, take down their supply, essentially, right? Oh, and they said they basically sold out, right? But they didn't sell out because they took down their supply, the amount of supply, and that's why Q4, was impacted. No other reasons, just because we didn't sell more MTG 30th. Yeah, really? Okay, sure. It's just a really weird feeling because, over the most recent years, there's been so many debacles, right? Just name a few, The Walking Dead Secret Lair, MTG 30th Anniversary Edition, the D&D OGL fiasco, just a lot of just decisions that this company makes consistently, it seems like now, where they are really trying to just pull one over on their customer base, on their community. And it's just, I don't know if I really feel this way, this passionately, for another company. But basically, I truly am rooting against Hasbro. If I see that they miss earnings, or if I see that they, aren't doing so hot, it kind of gives me hope that eventually somehow, Wizards might be able to break off or whatnot and kind of escape from this. That's just, I don't know if that's very, likely. I don't know what in the world would happen. Again, I'm not an expert on finance, marketing major over here, but yeah. It's very disheartening with kind of all the decisions that they make when it comes to just it comes to just kind of decency, essentially, when it comes to just any kind of a moral fiber, essentially, and just kind of having, I don't know why have that expectation. They are a company, obviously, but when it comes to that, it's like you own brands, multiple brands that so many people in the world are so passionate about, and yet you try to pull one over on them. It's just so strange that people can actually just do that kind of thing. It's just, yeah, it's really weird kind of overall to just kind of love something so much and despise the owner of it, essentially. Recently, in the past couple months, I've started playing a game called Star Realms. I don't know if any of you out there have played it. I absolutely love it. It is great. I highly recommend picking it up. Hashtag not a sponsor. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It was actually, I think it was actually made by 2 Magic Hall of Famers, actually. It's a great game, a great kind of just deck builder, essentially. Kind of all-encompass, or all comes, basically, you can just build your own deck as you go, essentially, as you play. I'm describing this terribly, but yeah, it's a very good game. But I don't despise the company that made that game. I don't, make sure they're not doing all these terrible decisions, essentially, just to kind of pull one over on their customers. Because I think, when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's just the expectation shouldn't be that. The expectation shouldn't be, all of this corporate greed, an absurd amount of corporate greed that is somehow is just expected by many players out there, by many people out there. They expect that kind of corporate greed, and when something like this happens, oh, well, that's just what corporations do. And it's again, at a certain point, your products kind of become more than products when you have, that kind of community, that kind of dedication to something, that kind of love for it, that kind of passion for it. And Hasbro has products that are that way, Magic and D&D, and just trying to just take advantage of those that care about that is just absolutely absurd to me. It is something that is inherent in the company right now and really needs to be adjusted, because I don't see them correcting course. I see them, again, they are struggling right now. They are, struggling in many ways outside of, Magic, and so they are doing certain practices that are, beneficial in the short term for profits, but probably not beneficial in the long term, because you are really upsetting your player base with a lot of these decisions, including, a lot of overproducing products, essentially making too many products, and you have a lot of player fatigue. And I know Wizard says, right, oh, well, every product's not for everyone, right? You don't have to pay attention to everything. It's well, here's the thing. Your main game right now, right? Your main format is Commander. You can't argue against that. It is the biggest format in Commander by far currently. And every single card essentially can apply to Commander. Every single product can have something for Commander, and Wizards intentionally does that, right? In basically every Secret Lair, you can see okay, yeah, there's a chase card essentially that is for Commander, most likely, usually. That's usually how it goes. So there are always products coming out where players that, play the game, that play the most, popular format, Commander, are then okay, this product's coming out, this coming out. There's an absurd amount of new cards coming out where players can't keep track of everything. Again, 5 years ago, you wouldn't say that. You'd be okay, yeah, a couple sets came out, cool. Yeah, I can recognize all the new cards, essentially. It doesn't take me long. But then now it's okay, a new set came out. Okay, what are the new cards? Oh, a new set came out. Okay, well, there's just nonstop. It is just nonstop, pedal to the metal. Hasbro. I've got a lot of thoughts, clearly. Just a base level respect for your customer base, though, would be appreciated, where you're not trying to take advantage of your player base. And to be completely honest, I don't think you can gain that kind of community trust, just by putting out articles. Oh, we've seen our error in ways. We're gonna change focus on the community and that kind of stuff. Yeah, but if you still have those people in those positions of power that are making those decisions, that made those decisions for MGG 30th, made the decisions for the OGL, they're going to be making those decisions again. And so, yeah, you kind of need to clean house and put people in positions of power that actually care about this community, not ones that could not care less what kind of a product that they are working on, because, yeah, your people at the top definitely don't play any of these games and don't care. We'll see what happens next year. Hopefully things improve, and I say next year, I guess this year, but we're talking about, Q4 earnings from last year. Hopefully things improve this year. We shall see. I still think we're going to be inundated with far too many products. Player fatigue is going to get worse. I'm hoping not. But we'll see if Wizards is able to step things back a little bit. If Hasbro is able to, I don't know, be happy with their profits in other ways. But yeah, with Hasbro floundering with everything except for Magic, maybe it just gets worse. We shall see. So yeah, hopefully they don't keep trying to pull things over in the community. Again, if the same people are up at the top, though, I can imagine it's just going to, happen again. There's going to be a bunch of lip service to it when they apologize. Oh, we didn't mean to do this. Oh, we didn't mean to do that. But they did. But yeah, you never know. Here's hoping I am wrong, right? Here's hoping I'm wrong about this year. Hopefully it's a great year for Magic. Hopefully, we're not overprinting. We don't have too many products out there. Hopefully it's something that's manageable for Magic players. Hopefully it's very respectful for Magic community. Same thing with D&D. Hopefully, it's not, trying to take advantage, not trying to pull one over on the community. So yeah, it is again, I mentioned, I think earlier, beautiful day outside. It's very sunny. It's very nice. I mean, it's really cold. It is still, 12 degrees now. In Minnesota, but yeah, I hope hopefully you're having a great day as well. And yeah, of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.